Greetings everybody, One Players all over the world, and welcome into the One Play Spectrum for the latest weekly instalment in December's Legends Club. Can't wait to speak to another of the world footballing legends, thanks to our friends at Turkish Airlines, the official airline of the Legends Club. All our sponsors, you can see their logos resplendent on the screen behind me. Our friends at Muddy Murphy's, our friends at Picketing, the Exchange Bar, Sahara, best hummus in Southeast Asia, Smith's Fish and Chips, there's no trouble brewing at Trouble Brewing, our good friends there, the Els Club, a great golf course in Malaysia. Our good friends also in Malaysia from Little League, a great little setup there with Paul Macefield and Andy. Expat Living, Star Balm, Nestia, the Sports Agency in Uganda, Resolve, and Heroes. And last but by no means least, I'm rediscovering my childhood with the marvellous Match Attacks. Who doesn't love Match Attacks? The very latest match. What's this? What's going on? Do you want some Match Attacks, kids?
No thanks, but we want to take over the show. We're the Junior Legend Takeover.
What? But like, you're trying to get me to sack. Who are these? I've met you, Vivaan. Who are these people?
Oh, this is Charles and that's Oliver.
Oh, what, and they're with you, are they?
Yeah.
So you want to, I'm getting kicked out.
Yes, you're fired. You're fired.
Oh, right, charming. All right, well, I suppose, can I take my mug with me?
Yeah, sure.
All right, well, I suppose it is. This is the Junior Legends Club Takeover. Roll the titles.
Hello, and welcome to the Junior Legends Takeover of the Legends Club. I am Vivaan Lalvani.
I am Charles Felicia.
And I'm Oliver Fu. Joining us live from the UK, Arsenal legend Nigel Winterburn.
Hello,
Hi, Nigel.
Hello, Junior Legends.
So, I would like to ask you a question. Seeing as you have 2 caps for England, how does it feel to represent your country?
Well, I think when you are a young boy and you are looking to try and get into professional football, the first thing is to try and get a club, which I was lucky to do, and had a very successful career at Arsenal. But to play international football, although my 2 caps were only as a substitute appearance, it's something that's very, very special and so hard to describe. And those 2 caps I still have sitting downstairs in my study, so it shows you how proud I was to play for my country.
Hi, Nigel. I also have a question for you. My question is, who would you say are the top 5 footballers in history?
Wow, well, I'm a lot older than you guys, so, I used to look at videos and watch players, so I think George Best was a terrific footballer that played for Manchester United. Pelé, also for Brazil, was a sensational player as well. Maradona, in his heyday, was an unbelievable player. Johan Cruyff as well. And I think if we're looking at someone more modern that you guys may have heard of, I had the pleasure of playing with Thierry Henry for a short period of time, and I would have thought that he would have been one of the top players when we're talking about in Premier League history. So there's a large variety of players there over a different era. And I didn't mention Ronaldo and Messi because I know you guys had a little argument last time with David James, so I'm keeping out of that one.
Okay, thank you. Over to Ollie.
Now, my question is, I know that you play left defender, and I also play defender, but I play on the right side, and I was wondering if you could give me any tips on being one.
Well, I think from when I first started playing, being a defender, the first thing that you had to do was be very, very good defensively. The modern game now has changed dramatically, and if you are a left or a right fullback, you have to be so comfortable on the ball now, particularly going forward into advanced areas. So I'd be saying to you, work on all aspects of your game. Look at one area, how you position yourself defensively, and how you make it difficult for the opposition to get past you. But when then you are looking to join with your teammates going forward into attacking areas, the areas I would like you to look at working at was be left and right foot, working on being comfortable with both those feet, taking the ball, moving it, sometimes passing that ball off short, longer distances, but also feeling comfortable to take the opposition players on in advanced areas as well. So there's a lot of things that you can work on, and that combination should allow you to become a very, very successful defender.
One thing that I have a coach, and his name is Coach Hakim, and he taught me the principle of defense, which is when the goalkeeper has the ball, move to the line so that you have more space to take the ball in and play. And then I sometimes think he's a very strict coach, so he really just wants all us defenders to basically just take the ball from the opposition trying to get past us.
Well, yeah, I would always say one of the key ingredients to being a defender, the first ingredient is to take the ball off the opposition player. If you can't do that, or you're outnumbered, the second part of that is to slow the opposition down. So that means to make them, or your player, make him pass the ball sideways or backwards. But I always say to anybody that's playing football, the main ingredient is to play without fear. And don't have a fear of failing. So if you try something and it doesn't work, don't worry about that or feel guilty about it. Within the game, just try and make your recovery back into position so that you can try and win the ball back. If you never ever try something out on a pitch, i.e. if you're a defender but you're going into an attacking area and you try a little bit of skill to beat the opposition defenders and you lose the ball, if you do that and you never try it again, how are you going to learn? You never will learn. So just think about when you're playing, think, even if I make a mistake, it's how I try and rectify that mistake is the most important thing. So have no fear of the failure, and that's what holds a lot of people back.
Okay, so there's always been one question in my mind. So like I know I've watched some of the games from like the mid to late 90s and some early 90s. Why the game was so physical and rough. So what is the best thing to do, let's say, if you get into a brawl with someone? Do you...
Well, try not to is a good idea. Listen, the game has changed. You're right. When I was playing the game, there was a lot more contact. The referees would allow a little bit more of contact than the modern game of today. That is for sure. But my advice to you would always be, play tough, but play fair, but try not to get into any trouble.
Okay, another thing. What happened in 1991 against Man United?
Well, I think you know that I made a tackle and then the Manchester United players didn't like it and they started to have a little kick at me when I was lying on the floor. But the real history of Arsenal, Manchester United, and the intensity of those games came about because Manchester, when I joined Arsenal, Manchester United were the team that won the league regularly. And Arsenal became the team for a period of time that started to challenge them. And then when you get fierce rivalry between two teams, certain things can happen that spark little instances off. You're talking about 91. We had a big rivalry with Manchester United because they knew and we knew that we both had the ability to beat each other, and we had the belief that if we finished ahead of Manchester United in the league, the likelihood was that we would win the league. And they had the same feeling about us. So those games added extra tension to them. And sometimes a little incident that you would think would be nothing, in a game when you were playing in it, felt it was a really big issue. And then everybody would get involved, and then you would get the incident like you had in 91.
So it gets a bit rough sometimes.
Okay, so I have another question, obviously. What would you rate the Arsenal team currently, and why would you rate it? Give your opinion.
It depends who I'm rating it against. If I'm rating it against the Arsenal team of, let's say, 2000 to 2006, or the team that I played in, through the early 90s up until 2000 when I left in Arsenal, the only way really to rate it is in terms of trophies that you've won. I think it's quite clear that Arsenal are in a transition period. They're in a rebuilding programme. This team would not match any of those teams from 2000 2006 or the 90s teams that I played in, simply because of the amount of trophies that we won. But I think Mikel Arteta is doing a good job, but I think a lot of Arsenal supporters are now realising that the rebuilding programme is going to take a lot longer than we thought it would, and we've fallen way behind some of the top teams. So the top teams at the moment are Liverpool and Manchester City. And we're trying to play catch up, and we're finding it very, very difficult to now catch up those teams.
Okay, so I actually didn't mean compared to other teams. I mean, like, what do you think of the team right now? What would you rate it on 10? I think you've given me explanation.
Out of 10, I think it's maybe 6 out of 10 at the moment. There's a lot of improvement needed within this team. I think, like I said to you, I like Mikel Arteta as a coach, but I think there is a lot of work to be done with this current team to get them back to challenging for a league title, and that's where every top club wants to be. So at the moment, if you're looking at this season solely, it's average. So just around 6 out of 10, and it needs to be 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. So we've got a long way to go.
Who would you say is currently Arsenal's best player?
Best player, all the players that I like. Listen, Aubameyang has been very, very good for Arsenal, but he is struggling this season. But Arsenal are struggling to create chances as well. I think Gabriel, the centre-half that's come in, is doing a very good job. Thomas Partey, that they brought as well, I think will be a terrific player. But a young player that I think has burst onto the scene that I think is going to be a sensational player is Saka. And he's a player that I really like to watch. So if you want to learn anything about young players and coming through into the team and making giant strides very, very quickly, then look at Saka, because he came in as a winger and ended up playing a lot of time at left back, and has now moved back into a wide position. So he's a player to watch out for that's going to be, I think, over the next 4 or 5 years, a big, big player for Arsenal.
What would you say is your most memorable match that you've played before?
Oh, I've got too many to mention. But if I had to pick one game that really launched my Arsenal career, it would have to be Anfield 89, when we won the league title against Liverpool in the last game of the season, and we had to win by 2 clear goals at Anfield, which at the time was almost impossible because Liverpool very rarely lost at home. And Mickey Thomas scored the second goal for us that enabled us to win the league title in about the 15th second of injury time. Which enabled us to go on and lift the league title. So that would be one of my most memorable moments at Arsenal. But as I said to you, I was very, very lucky. I won 7 major honours with them, and each one is very, very special. But I think that one is the one that a lot of people look back to as the sort of building blocks for Arsenal to become competitive again, particularly in the Premier League.
Would you really say that you're going to win that match by a few goals or not?
Well, you always have to believe. And we went up with a plan to play against Liverpool, as I said to you, because Liverpool were a fantastic team. We had the belief that we could score against them. And our game plan is to make sure that Liverpool didn't score. And we thought that if we scored at any time, then we'd have at least 1 or 2 opportunities to score that second goal in the match. I didn't realise it was going to be quite so late, but it just added to the drama. And everybody that's an Arsenal supporter still remembers and still talks about that game, which is in the last year and a half has been brought out on DVD for people to watch. It's if you haven't watched it, have a look back at it. It's a fantastic game. It will never be recreated again.
Okay, so for my final question, I would like to ask, what happened against Luton Town in the League Cup?
Oh, you're getting very naughty and cheeky, aren't you now? Well, what happened is I was the penalty taker, and you've already set me up to say that I missed the penalty. But what happened in the league that season is that our regular penalty takers had missed a couple of penalties. So I think it was about 4 or 5, maybe even 6 games go to the end of the season. And I had said that, so we were looking for a new penalty taker, and I said, look, I didn't mind having a go, but unfortunately we didn't get a penalty in the league. So it came to the cup final, and we got a penalty. We were 2-1 up with less than 20 minutes to go. And you say I missed, but I say the keeper made a great save. But we then went on to lose that game 3-2. So it wasn't my greatest moment, but luckily enough, as I said to you, that my career turned out quite successful. So I'll take that defeat, and I'll let you get away with that cheeky question to me.
Okay, my final question is, what would you say is the highlight of your career? Like, if any club, Arsenal, Birmingham City, Wimbledon, etc. Even if you want to say it for the national team, absolutely fine by me.
Well, the highlight has to be the '89 game at Anfield, but also for me, one of my standout memories is when Arsene Wenger joined Arsenal as well, and we did the League and FA Cup double, so Premier League and FA Cup winners in 1998, and that was Arsene Wenger's first full season. And playing under Arsene Wenger then was a very special feeling, because he basically, just as I spoke to you earlier about just encouraging you to go out and play and express yourselves and have no fear of failure, that's exactly what Arsene Wenger told us to do. When he came in, he brought in some new players, but he told us just to go out and enjoy the game of football as if you were playing on a Saturday or a Sunday on a parks pitch. And to do that double in that season was sensational. So that would be one of my highlights as well.
And what would you say is a different coaching style between Arsene Wenger and, what was his name again?
George Graham?
Yeah, George Graham.
George Graham was very good tactically, so organising his teams through all the departments of the pitch, so defensively, midfield, and attacking. It was quite regimented. Everybody knew their job and what was expected of them. And as I just spoke about earlier with Arsene Wenger, is he brought a lot more flair into the team, a lot more expression within the team, just literally just going out and enjoying yourself, and then just organising yourself defensively when you needed to. So that was the big difference. Was under George Graham, it was very, very structured. Under Arsene Wenger, it was just go out and have that freedom to play.
Okay, thank you guys. That's all we have time for today. And thank Nigel too. And a special thanks to our sponsors at Match Attacks. Thank you, Nigel.
Thanks, Nigel.
Thank you very much,
Nigel.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
And see you next month,
time.
guys.